Hey guys, crew of Blindwave, I'm Aaron. And as said before, over 10 years, people have enjoyed us having spicy, hot, burning mouths, and also a lot of questions that we get asked. So we are once again back here for Heatwave. This time we're joined with Jake.
Hi.
Hi, Jake. How are you doing?
I'm not part of this spicy thing. Why am I here?
You are here. I've been wanting to bring in not just the crew of Blindwave, but also so many people that are behind the scenes that not a lot of people know of. Some people do know of you, maybe more than others. And
a little bit.
Hopefully we'll get you kind of introduced to some more of the audience that maybe is not aware who Jake is.
Yeah. I keep looking at these knowing how the taste testing went last week. I know this is the easy set, but I might have made a mistake.
Yes, as opposed to last time with Eric, we had to test some of yours in preparation because we have an interesting lineup with a lot of mythical creatures and such.
Yeah.
You were off to the side as we taste tested and saw how some of our reactions were. So I'm sure you're extra excited.
Yeah. You got to deal with it. I at least have some ignorance into what's coming.
You do. So let's take care of that and let's get started with the first question. And this is the first one here, yeah. This is the Oxygen Destroyer.
All right. Oxygen Destroyer is from the original movie, and then in '95, Godzilla vs. Destroyer is a big deal.
Oh.
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just good flavor.
It is. It's really good. I like this one a lot. And keep in mind as we go through, like as long as you take a bite, if you want to finish the wing, you can finish the wing.
Yeah.
You can do what you want.
I'll probably finish the early wings and save the space for later, so I don't feel so bad.
Figure we start with one of the more common questions, which would be, Jake, how did you come to join Blindwave? And what do you do for the channel, and what did you do before Blindwave?
So first of all, I was a fan first. I started watching reaction content in like 2017, 2018. I started with, they originally were superhero news, and they started to fade away. And I was like, oh, I like this kind of thing, but it was mostly trailers. I found you guys, and through the Arrowverse and like Game of Thrones, I got more into reaction content. So then you guys then had your first WaveCon, which is our convention now. I was a newish fan. I really wasn't on Discord much. I took a shot because I hadn't had a vacation on my own, and I went. I was the only one who didn't stay in the other toe because I wanted an exit plan in case I didn't get along. But I fell in love with the community, and as I got more in the community, I became a mod a couple years later in the Discord server, which is where I really started spending time with Dababa or Jen. Eventually, we started in a relationship, and after a couple years, it was, hey, this 8-hour long distance thing is, we need to go to a next step. Either you're coming to me or I'm coming to you. And at first I thought she was going to move to me, but as time went on, I realized I didn't like my job. I didn't like what I did. So I messaged you guys and was like, is there anything you can put together that like resembles a job that is comparable, in me not losing a lot of my lifestyle? We took a couple months. We talked about like what I'm good at, what I'm good at learning, where my knowledge base is on different things, and we came up with I am now the production assistant at Blindwave. So setting up cameras, microphones, lights, helping build sets. I was helped build the Donkagonk. Anything that we put on the channel that is outside of the main set back here, I mostly probably was the one putting up together.
You helped put together this right now.
It was weird. I described it earlier. I was like, I'm a death row inmate. I know what's coming for me, but I have to cook my own last meal as I set up. So I also do most of the stuff behind the scenes on streams. So solo streams, I set up beforehand and try and make it as easy for you guys to stream as possible, just because you guys work 8 hours, get to have a little bit of time to get dinner, and then go straight into streaming. And then any group stream or podcast, I'm behind the scenes and I do the switching. I make sure all of the technical stuff is put together as well as it can, and then fix anything.
You'd mentioned before about what you did before. What was it that what was stuff you did before Blind Wave as far as?
So most of my life was blue collar work. I worked for the city municipality for transportation. I just worked in the maintenance department. So it was, doing all the basic maintenance of like making sure the buses were fueled every day, parked, doing road calls if buses broke down or needed swapped out, towing buses. I did that for almost 10 years before I came here. And then before that was just like I worked at a local go-kart place or stuff like that. But it was always outdoor work. So I did a massive shift when I came here to an indoor job.
More doing
sitting at a computer at a desk all day versus on my feet all day.
And now we get to eat chicken wings.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the second one. This is death metal.
Mecha Godzilla.
Mecha.
One of my favorites. I know this is your show and you asked the questions, but I have a question for you.
What's that?
Wings or flats? I guess drums or flats, I guess is the right question.
These ones here versus, man.
I'm a flats guy.
I'll go with the drums probably, actually.
Interesting.
I think there's more meat and less work.
There's a method to the madness with the flats. If I remember, I'll try and do it on the next one.
This is kind of continuing off from what we had before. You talking about what you do with Blind Wave, but a question we had was how much preparation does it take to make Blind Wave content? I think you're one of the ones who would know a lot about that now, especially. And also, are there any videos that take more time than any others?
Yeah. So, like, Badonkagonk took a lot of time because we built an entire set that was themed. We have different layers to how in detail the shot goes for each. The Badonkagonk itself is very detailed. So that took a couple of months of preparation of building the walls and building the gonk itself and the tabletop and setting up the cameras. Something like what we're doing right now took me a couple of hours to get all the gear together, get it set up. Most of it is fine detail. It takes maybe 20 minutes to get all the gear together from various different places and get it where you need to be. And then it's finding the tiny little changes in angles and positioning that really start to like make or break a thing. They always say that when you do a project, the last 10% is the most important because that's all the final stuff. So changing temperatures of lights by percentage to try and get lighting correct, or moving around microphones, or hooking up like we have today, lav mics, which I'm sorry if I just hit it. I'm not used to lav mics yet. Yeah, it really just depends on how many cameras, what our environment is that we're filming in, what the content is that we're filming, and that kind of really changes how complicated and long it takes. So it can take anywhere from 30 minutes for a quick thing to months if we have a big dedicated thing that we're going to put together.
Is there any content that's like your favorite to set up for?
We recently did some Star Wars card stuff that was really fun to do, and figure out like getting the card stuff to look good. I really, really liked Badonkagonk because now anytime somebody comes to the building and they look and like even below out of focus of the camera, Badonkagonk is very detailed. I'm very, very proud of like all the weathering we did to make it, because
it's a cool droid.
Yeah, it's a cool droid. It's just storage containers stacked. And then we just did a bunch of stuff to it, and it was with everyday stuff, and you can do a lot more than what you think with creative stuff like that. So I think the part of Badonkagonk and then like figuring out stuff like Star Wars, or we talked about setting up stuff at your house where we're trying to be really efficient in the equipment use we have, because we do have limited, equipment. So using it as efficiently and effectively as possible, I enjoy doing. So like finding multiple uses or purposes for something.
Yeah.
So that it can get used over and over in different ways and not have a lot of time invested to change it.
Well, I look forward to future sets then.
Yeah.
All right, third one. This is the Queen of the Monsters.
Mothra, let's go. This is a chunky one.
It is. This is why I love the drums. The drums are
They do got some chunk to them. We're definitely kicking up a little bit, but not a lot. Still tastes good. Like, I would still order this. It might be on the top end of what I enjoy.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, you've been joining in to some reactions and some videos and stuff. Still doing behind the scenes, but just getting some time on the camera itself. So far, what have you enjoyed about being on camera? And has there been any hard parts adjusting to having people react to what you've done behind the scenes to reacting to what you are on camera?
So far, I really enjoy it because I find myself a lot better at articulating my thoughts on a show verbally, where most of my experience with especially nerd culture is online through text. And I don't, trying to put my thoughts to words in a coherent way doesn't seem to really flow well from me. So it's getting to flex like some muscles of the way that I communicate in ways that I don't normally get to about stuff that I care about and love. So I don't get to do that often because most of my life I grew up with people who weren't into the things I was into.
Sure.
So I was kind of solo in my nerddom, other than a couple of close friends, but interests were still very different. So I really enjoy that. I really just like watching stuff with you guys, because it is. I mean, I didn't grow up, but I spent so much time watching you guys before. It felt like I was at the table, and I think that's what the magic is that a lot of people felt and why they came to the channel. And sitting at the table is just an extent, like it is, the way that I felt is the same way that I felt actually sitting here. Like nothing changed. It didn't, like, there's no inauthenticity to it that might happen when you sometimes meet people that you know online through parasocial stuff. So like the realization that all of that still stayed the same, I really like. The transition, I don't think I've had much of an issue with it. Obviously, people are not going to like the new person. People are not going to like the change. Some people won't. That stuff really doesn't bother me, because if you guys don't enjoy the stuff with me in it, you won't want me in it. And if you guys like me in it, then I think it makes it better. And I trust that. So that's really all that matters, you know. And as long as you guys think that my presence makes a show more enjoyable because I know about that thing, or because I'm like more an anime guy than some of you guys are, I just trust that when I'm in stuff that you guys are all right with me being in, that you guys know that line. So anything else outside of that doesn't really bother me too much.
Oh, good. No, it's definitely fun to have you, especially in like Monarch was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't really know the Godzilla stuff, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure there's at least one or two of those questions, because we have a whole line of sauces on it.
Yes, actually, this whole first 5 here we have are all Godzilla-related sauces that we got.
Not Yeti.
There's one imposter in here.
Yeah.
So with that, let's get on to the imposter.
All right, so the flats trick.
Yes, the flats trick you were talking about here for Yeti.
So you want to twist it, and then you can just
and then bop it.
Pull out. Usually you can just pull one of these out all the way. And then the whole wing's just there.
It's all meat there?
Oh,
wow.
And it's not as much fighting around it.
I kind of did it.
You get better with it over time.
It does seem hotter than the Queen of the Monsters.
Yep.
Well, let's get into the next question. I was mentioning about this one being the imposter of this Godzilla lineup here, but besides you, Jake, joining Blindwave back when you did, we also had an unexpected addition of Kyle. Would you mind explaining who Kyle is? And also, there has been some questions of like, does that bother you at all? Or does he bother you at all?
So Kyle is my alter ego that apparently works here, my twin alter ego. And he ends up taking all the blame for everything, so it's kind of great for me. So it doesn't bother me because I can just blame any mistake on Kyle. How it came about, man, what happened? So Dabab and I bought a house, and we had people over to just kind of celebrate having a house. So Maggie and Rick came over with their daughter Evie, Evie is very big into ghost hunting. Dababa is very much not into ghosts. She's very scared of ghosts. So Evie brought over her ghost hunting gear and said we had a ghost. And I said, oh, what's his name? And she called it Kyle. So then, like, within the same week, we came in and, oh man, I forgot how it happened, but something happened where somebody else named a Kyle thing. Like names that are people that, you know, turn out to be jerks or something like that. And I was like,
okay.
And it was like Kyle. And I was like, oh, like they're ghost. And somehow that twisted and shifted to Kyle came here. And now I have an alter ego that is now Kyle, that whenever things go wrong, it's either blamed on you or Kyle.
Yes, I do get blamed a lot on those.
But you now have Kyle that it takes some of it.
I have to poke more at Kyle a little bit more.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing a meme of like, it was like the Us like title poster, but it was like you behind a you like mask.
Like, they took the mask from that and just made a me and a me.
It's pretty cool. So
but yeah, for a little bit, there was like a tiny bit, I was like, I don't know if I like this, but it quickly faded and I just find it funny. I roll with stuff like that. It doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, now I find it funny and I just run with the punches up. Guys, Kyle's acting up. Stuff's not working right. It's Kyle. He's, you know, throwing a fit. We haven't given him enough attention or whatever excuse we want to make about it.
All right. No. Well, thank you there. And thank you, Kyle, for, I guess, not messing anything up today.
Hopefully.
All right. We're going to be moving on to our halfway point with, this is the title, The Death Song of Three Storms.
King Ghidorah.
Is that like what he's called, or what? Why is that?
No, he has a lot, like some of his nicknames are very death related. He's generally an alien that is a destroyer, and he's a three-headed Hydra. So, like King of the Monsters, the American King of the Monsters made him like be the center of a storm because of like some of the details of like his alien biology. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming they took some of those different aspects and combined them all together to make the Death Song of Three Storms?
The Death Song of Three Storms, yeah. All right, but let's get into the Death Song.
See, initially, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But this might have a ramp. Yeah, it's ramping a little bit.
I think the last two have had more of a lingering with them too.
Yeah, Yeti I definitely can still feel, whereas the others I didn't feel after a minute or so.
All right, well, as some people may know now, you're a big Godzilla fan.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone missed any of that. I think you're also a Kaiju fan in general, right?
Yeah.
What made you to be a Kaiju fan? And what does like Godzilla mean to you, and why do you like him so much?
So Godzilla was was the first Kaiju thing I saw. I think I was somewhere between 3 and 5. I was with my dad and we were over at his friend's house, and his friend was watching one of the old movies, and I just latched onto it. I don't know exactly what it is about it that first did it when I was little. Maybe I think it was just things that were larger than life, because when I was very young, I was also very big into construction equipment. And to a very small human, that is larger than life. And my mom would drive me around town and I'd be able to name what each construction equipment was. So I think it's just a thing of, oh, this is bigger than real life. Wow, what would that be like? And it's a monster that's fighting for good because it was one of those. So my dad, who never really understood or got into Godzilla, would still take the time on Saturday evenings on, I think it was the Sci-Fi Channel back then, had Monster Saturdays or something along those lines. So you'd take VHS tapes and you would tape the Godzilla movies that were on blank tapes or record over anything, because they were on too late for me normally. So it was a thing that as I've grown up, like an act of love that my dad had for me to like think of that and do that for me to make sure I had these things that I wanted to watch, because they're not easy to come by, especially in the 90s, to get in, a video store or something. And yeah, it was just the idea of this giant lizard that fought to protect people, because most of the ones I watched was what's called the Showa era, which is the 50s to the 70s. And most of that was when he was a hero. So I started with those, and around the time I was like 5 or 6, I got introduced into Power Rangers. And it kind of just transferred, and they kind of just pollinated the love of these giant robots and giant monsters. And it's a franchise that can grow with you, because on its surface level, it's giant monsters fighting.
Sure, yeah.
As you get older and you watch, there's a lot more nuance and theme to it. There's a lot of artistry and magic into the production, knowing that they had little money to spend and had to do the most they could with it. With miniatures, with the fact that Japanese cinema didn't have the money that Hollywood had, even though they pushed forward a lot of special effects that people don't realize. Yeah, I think it was just like a combination of all those things, of just like the wild fantasy of it. And just like driving over a hill and being like, what if he was right there fighting something, on the distance? And, I never can imagine things growing up, but it was like what would it look like if I could? And that was the easiest thing for me to ever like come close to, like, I think picturing a thing. Sure. Because it's so outlandish and big, you'd be like, okay, that building, he'd be taller than that, and they'd be fighting over there, and you'd grow up with that, and it grows with you in the way that you consume it. It just ends up becoming something I'm going to be a lifelong fan of.
Besides Godzilla, do you have another like kaiju that's up there for you that you're like, oh, I really love, or a villain that he fights, or any of that kind of stuff?
In the franchise, I really, really love Anguirus, which is generally like a very close ally of Godzilla. He always gets beat up, but he always is there to fight, and he like holds his line no matter what. So I've always really liked that. Mechagodzilla has always been very important to me, because I'm pretty sure that's the very first one I watched. It's definitely the first one I have memory of. Outside of that, I mean, they're very basic, but I really love the movie War of Gargantuas, which is the same director as Godzilla, and it's in the same continuity. They're very basic, like human things, but I really enjoy that movie. Yeah, all the really, really important big ones I'm a big fan of, and I just grew up with, so you're kind of ingrained with them. It's like, what's your favorite Star Wars starship? Everyone's going to say the Millennium Falcon. It's hard to not.
Sure.
And then like you've got the ones that are there a lot. They have to be the next.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're around.
You see them so much that these are your favorites. So.
Rodan, Mothra, Anguirus, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla. The mainstay.
It's easier to name the ones you know.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
All right. We are on the last half. We are here with, what is this one? The Fire Demon?
Yeah. Rodan.
Another Godzilla one.
Yep.
All right.
This half looks like it's less Godzilla, but it ends on Godzilla, which is important.
It begins and ends with Godzilla here.
Yeah. I know about that one, though.
I do think this is where things start to amp up.
At my first bite, I was like, oh, that's really good flavor, and I'm starting to feel the kick in. This is definitely warm enough that I don't enjoy it, but it's not bad.
So having come from being a fan, as you mentioned before, to being a part of the Blindwave family, what do you think is the biggest misconception fans have in general as being an audience member about Blindwave?
I think there's a massive lack of understanding of time commitment. What our scheduling day looks like, how long it takes to do each thing. I've seen so many people think that because we release, let's take Tuesday, for example, because I know it right now is Solo Leveling, Dan to Dan, Naruto. So they think, okay, every Tuesday we film those 3 things, which just isn't the case, because one, that would mean we'd have to work 7 days a week. We don't.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's starting to kick.
It's sticking there.
Yeah, that one sticks. And then there's the thought of, oh, it's only a 30-minute show. How long could it take? Well, you got the after discussion. There is quite frequently like a pre-discussion that you guys have that's generally just kind of like you guys just keeping up tabs with talking to each other. They're setting up the lights, changing the light colors, changing the camera if you need to change it based off of how many people are at the set. Taking cards back to get uploaded, following the schedule. And then by the time you take that, basically you take a length of a show and double it, and that's kind of what a recording block is. Whereas people a lot of the time think, oh, it's a 30-minute show. It should only, it's 23 minutes long. It should only take 35 minutes. No, it's closer to an hour. And sometimes if the conversation runs long, it's much longer. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is we can't just record. There's so many other things that we have to do in a day that people don't think about or realize is like, meetings, checking in with employees, just regular day-to-day stuff, trying to squeeze in lunches, breaks, streaming, how often like days run long. We're supposed to be a 40-hour work week, and then whoever streams picks up another 9 hours. But most of the time it's not that, a lot of the times we don't get out of here until 5:30, 5:45. So it's an extra 45 minutes every day. It starts to stack up.
Sure.
So yeah, I think a lot of it's just misconception on like how much time everything takes, how long it takes to set up something like this, and how long it takes to block this off of our day to do a video like this. When you want to try and do an original content and people are mad that not enough reactions are coming, you're like, well, we can't do both, and we really would like to do original content, so something has to give. Which is why Ride the Wave is nice. Because now in those in-between times we can, when stuff is filtering its way through, which is how we did Scream. That's how we're doing stuff like this, and hopefully continue to do it.
Trying to sneak in some of the other stuff while reactions are still rolling through. All right. Well, there's only 4 left to go.
Yep.
So
I regrets building.
Let's move on to Phoenix Flame, I believe is this one.
This is where I start getting to like singular or 2 bites.
As long as you take a bite. That's not too bad for me. I'm doing okay right now.
I'm alright. It just sits.
We'll see how it lingers, yeah. We talked about you being on camera a little bit more lately. I can't account for everything you've been on or streams you've been on or any of that kind of stuff, but what's one moment that you wish you could scrub from the internet? And what's one moment that you are maybe secretly most proud of?
Secretly most proud of is lately I was there was a line at 28 days later, where it's right in the height of the like 100 men versus gorilla. And in the very beginning of the movie is they had chimps tied up, and just as quick as, you could expect someone to do, one of the guys is like, what are they doing with these chimps? I'm like, training them to fight 100 men. And I felt like the timing was really good, and it was very topical, and it made me chuckle watching. Like, I try not to watch stuff back, but I kind of like, because I'm newer at this, I try and keep up with comments to see if there's any criticisms that I can like take and improve on. Mm-hmm. And I saw like, to comment that people enjoyed that joke, and I listened to it and I just felt like, okay, I can be funny. I have moments where I'm like, I trust that you guys know that I'm going to improve stuff, but I don't always know if I actually improve it.
Sure.
So when there is the little bits of affirmation, they do matter. And that one was like a little secret one that I kind of was like, yeah, I got that one. As far as deleting, I wish I could scrub my username that people still try to jokingly call me, in that I made the user tag Ravenous in high school with a friend. There was a heavy metal band called Atreyu that we listened to, and we both were getting to the point of making new usernames, and we decided to make our usernames songs off that album. So he went with Gallows, I went with Ravenous.
Ah, okay.
We never used usernames in voice or anything like that. So then fast forward 10 years, I come to WaveCon and everyone's referring to each other as their username. And the first time in my life I heard somebody call me by Ravenous, and I went, I don't know, please, Jake, please, I don't like that. Ugh. So I would probably just have made my username just Jake.
Or Jake,
just some kind of Jake thing, because I don't know, the user tags never made sense to me, because the only people on voice I was in games was my friends.
Sure.
It was never outside of my friend group that I met online. So yeah, the 10 years of it just being a name that was there and then hearing it was just skin crawly. So get rid of that.
Gotcha. All right. I was wondering if there's anything from Heatwave.
No, that shit's gold. That's you know what? I take back the 100 apes, 100 men versus apes joke. All of Heatwave was golden the second we leaned into the innuendo.
Well, check out Heatwave, which was one of the segments of Subathon, right?
Yeah.
What game was that for?
Roadcraft.
Roadcraft.
And the second it turned dirty, that entire section of the stream was great.
So check that out. All right, we're moving on to Kraken's Curse, Jake. Kraken's Curse.
This is where I'm gonna start getting scared.
Nah, the last three.
Yeah, I think the last 3 years.
We could always stop too if you don't want to make it all the way.
I'm not DJ Khaled. First Bites is This Is Good. That worries me. The fact that it's 8. Robert, how there?
No?
No, there it is. I started to creep up.
All right. We're going to this one quick while this starts to hit you. Hostile aliens have landed on Earth, and you are being demanded by them to show them 3 things to make them save humanity. What do you point out to convince them to save humanity?
I would probably show them music. If I had to pick something specific, like a Stevie Wonder kind of thing, something very universal, like a song that I really, really love that I think just vibes that I think always will work is Superstitious by Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Or I'd probably show them that song. I would show them the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I think that encapsulates the variety of human emotions about as accurately as you can without needing to understand anything about humans, because it is just going through raw emotion. You cry during a scene where there are rocks.
True.
If the movie can do that, I think it will make sense to aliens. And then this one's going to be like dark sounding.
Okay.
I would take them to meet sick kids.
Okay.
Because if you can meet sick kids who are brave when like the end of the world is coming, I don't think you can look at a race and say they don't deserve to be here. It's dark, but I think kids who are brave and kids who are hopeful in the darkest thing is like the brightest part of humanity, of showing what humanity can be. And if they want to kill us after that, then they're idiots. And they shouldn't have figured out FTL travel.
All right. No, I like those. Those are good. How's it? You doing all right?
That one's hurting.
We're getting to the last 2. We're at Dragon's Breath.
Yeah.
So I will say this one, when we tested, I compared to the hottest one Eric had of Last Dab.
Okay. So this is Eric's 10.
This is where Eric's 10 would have been.
Okay. So as long as I make it through that, I at least have hit the bounds of what Eric has done.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that.
Have some Dragon's Breath.
That's gross. That's not a good flavor.
While that marinates there, we haven't touched on it. We know that you're a big D&D fan.
Yeah.
So with that, what do you think your real life stats of D&D stats would be, and what's your class or subclass?
Okay. So for people who don't know D&D, a commoner, it's 10 across the board. 20 is the highest a human can reach without magic. Generally, I think of real life humans as maxing out around 16, and D&D characters, anything above that is superhuman, like mildly superhuman, because I like my fantasy characters to be stronger than what people can be. So with that, I would say that I am a 10 strength, 10 dexterity, like an 11 or 12 constitution. I don't get sick very often. I think intelligence, I would be like 11. Wisdom would be like an 8 or 9. I think like trying to like be dedicated to some things I struggle with. And then charisma, man, I think I have my moments. I think I'd probably sit around like an 11 or 10. I don't think I'm too far off average of any of these things. I'm not particularly athletic. I'm not that hardy. I don't think I'd be exceed 12, and I don't think I'm far below average to drop below 8.
Okay.
Okay, I finished it. I can drink. That one was warm.
Do you have a class or subclass, any of that you think you'd be?
I would probably be something like, probably an artificer. Someone who uses their smarts to put together systems to succeed in their goals.
Okay.
And probably like subclasses be like an artillerist, or I'm trying to think of the other ones. I think there's one where you have like a robotic hound, and I think that might be it.
That'd be cool.
Because I think if I had the tools, I could put together like an RC car that I could drive around well enough to call a companion.
Okay. Last one before we move in with that. Give a class to the 4 Blind Wave members: Eric, Rick, Calvin, and me.
I think Calvin would be like a ranger. He has the survival skills. Rick would be intelligence-based class, so probably a wizard. I think Eric would be a bard, but like a sword bard. I think you're the hardest to fit into one of them. Man, you're difficult to figure out. You might also be a bard, but very different than Eric.
I'm too central of like, I don't feel like I point in any direction for a lot of things.
Much of a thing to focus on.
Or maybe it's just the heat bothering you and you can't think very well.
That is also part of it. I'm trying to run through the classes and feel like I'm missing one.
Maybe I'm an unknown then.
You actually might be a paladin. I think you have some beliefs that you're pretty strong-willed on that you would stick to. I think you could probably fit that.
All right. Well, now that we got that figured out, there's one left. We get to end this with your boy, Godzilla, with Doom Inevitable.
That's an appropriate name, it sounds like. I also want to point out just how gross looking that color is.
The color does not look great.
Yeah. That's gross. No, I'm not going for more.
All right, before you die, how has your life changed with Blind Wave, and what are you hoping for in the next 10 years of Blind Wave? What are you wanting the future to be like?
My life changed in almost every way imaginable. I'm now living with my partner, who I love very much. I love my job compared to not loving my job. Oh my god, that's bad. Why does it taste like gasoline?
And it's Doom.
I come in and I can be creative and use problem-solving skills in my brain, whereas I didn't get to use that before. Oh man, it sits here. Why is it right there? As far as 10 years, I just want to keep making good content and making fun stuff for people to watch. Fuck.
Told you, this one's farther than where Eric was.
Yeah, this is bad. This is real bad. My brain's not working.
The future, Jake. Don't think about the present.
There's wings stuck on my teeth and it was staying. I would like to see wider productions that we do. Get more into interesting original content. I would like to stay in front of screen for the stuff I love. And that's all I got.
All right, guys. Well, while that one is finishing off Jake, we want to thank you guys for joining us. We hope you guys had fun with Heatwave. If you've enjoyed this, if you missed the Eric one, you can go back and check that one out as well. And if you want us to do more of these, let us know in the comments below if you're enjoying this. We have questions still open on the forums at blindwave.com. And we are looking at maybe doing everybody in the future. So submit some questions there. And thank you everybody who submitted questions. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to the next Heatwave and for the next 10 years of Blind Wave. Bye, everybody.
Make me hate Godzilla.
Do an outro. Jake to do it.
There you go.
Look right in the camera and
Hey guys, this is Heatwave. It really hurt. If you like this, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's come back next time. I'm gonna go die.